Good morning and welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise. We are live dead early on another fantastic Friday. It is March 3rd, and I'm so happy that you're up to join us. And yes, I say us. I am your host, Mark Daniels, but I am flying solo today, but not really. I'm not the only one in this ship. We've got many other crew and cabin staff here helping us on this flight today. We got ourselves a production team. You know, we got our chief meteorologist in the country. We've got Godfrey Burnside in here. We got G-Day, Terrence, Suzette. We got Anna, we got Margaret, we got Terrence, we got Shelly, and we got Miss A, and all of the Bahamas at Sunrise and the Council's Limited crew. So I'm never flying solo. They are here with us behind the camera. They are our live studio audience. So when you hear them laughing and talking, that's who's here. Let's hear the laughter, everybody. Hey, see, I ain't lying. There's other people here with me. So thank you for being up with us this morning, joining us there early. Yes, it is March 3rd. The third March of the year, jeez. The third day of the year, look at me, it's Friday, right? And it's Women's History Month. And so, you know, this is a special month that was identified to, highlight the achievements of women throughout history. It was originally an American, created a holiday, let's call it like that, this month. But we're celebrating here in the Bahamas. We're looking at the achievements of women throughout history. And so congratulations, first of all, for just being a woman, because that is hard enough. And if you want to talk about women's history, we will congratulate you for, I'd say, the biggest accomplishment of all, which is populating the entire earth. Because without you, women, we won't be here. So we'll start it off with that, but we have a great show for you today. Speaking of women, I have to send happy birthday to a little woman in my family. It's my niece, Reagan Winona Noel Daniels. She is turning 13 today. Such a happy day for you, such a special day. 13 laps around the sun, many more to come. You're turning in such a beautiful young lady. Your mom, your dad, your grandparents, Auntie Nina, we are all proud of you. We love you, and we continue to support you from near and far. Enjoy your day, Reagan. So, Women's History Month, we got an exciting show. We're going to be highlighting a few women in our Bahamian society that are standing out and making waves. But before we get to that, you know, what has this week been all about? You know, I've been seeing lots of red and green on the streets. I know it's not the F&M and the DNA competing against one another. It's BAISS, everybody. So it's BAISS. So you know what this means. This is the biggest row of the year among the private school athletic fans, man. You got SAC and QC and St. John's and Kingsway, and you know, everybody's saying who's the best, who's the best. And you automatically know who's from SAC because they think they invented track. I think they say they might as well just call it sack and field, right? But I disagree. Anybody in here been to SAC? I think if we all been to SAC, we would have done hair it by now. I know we got St. John's in the house, we got Kingsway in the house, we got Temple Christian, we got Princeville. I think nobody in this studio from SAC, because they would have already been down here correcting me. But BAISS is going on this week, everybody. Make sure you check it out. Support our youth, support the athletes. It's always a wonderful event. So here we are, flying solo. We got a great show for you today. Kim Welcome is here to tell us about her Reclaim Your Destiny concert tour. And once again, we're talking about women in history, and so we have marine scientist Krista Sherman coming to talk to us about her amazing accomplishments in her career. Dr. Kenneth Romer is also going to join us to discuss the launch of the government's public-private partnership scheme for developing family island airports. Very excited about that. And we'll get an economic update from Central Bank Governor John Rolle. Before we go on, we want to invite you to our Grand Bahama Business Outlook happening Thursday, March 16 at the Grand Lucayan in Grand Bahama. You will have a diverse slate of presenters speaking from various industries on the theme Forward, Upward, Onward, Together. And this is in celebration of the nation's 50th independence. You can register now at tclevents.com. To attend, the in-person rate is $165, or you can join virtually for $100. The Business Outlooks are always very critical events. We're discussing the economy on those islands, and you don't want to miss it. So looking out for you to register for this event. We got all this and more, but we got weather coming up with Brother Godfrey Burnside. I think he went to St. John's, and I think he used to run track. Tell us about it, Godfrey.
This is Weather at Sunrise.
Thank you, Mark, and good morning, Bahamas. Yes, Green Giants used to run track, 100 meters, played basketball and softball, so all those things, Marks. We are in the track and field, but we're not the best at this time. So we were that time. When I was in college, we were the best. Anyhow, in your weather, persistent high-pressure system across the islands will generate some breezy conditions today. That'll move east on Saturday, make way for a weak cold front to move here sometime on Sunday night into Monday morning across the islands. some more showers. We haven't had any showers. We've been dry for a little while, so we'll have some showers on late Sunday night into Monday. Today, though, a lovely day in store. Weather-wise, sunny, breezy, very warm. High temperature reaching 86 degrees Fahrenheit. Tonight, we're looking at clear and cool again. You look going down to 65 degrees Fahrenheit. And there's some region highs and lows across the Caribbean. Barbados, 84 and 76. In Jamaica, 87 and 75. In Trinidad, 87 and 74. And the Turks and Caicos Islands, 86 and 69. Across North America, Atlanta, 73 and 48. In Boston, 44 and 34. In Miami, 87 and 72. Dallas, Texas, 64 and 44. And Toronto, Canada, 34 and 32. As you go through the weekend, pretty good until late Sunday night into Monday, expecting Monday with some showers across the northwest Bahamas after the front passes through and settles into Exumas sometime late Monday evening. We are looking at partly sunny skies the rest of the week. Those temperatures daytime through the weekend will be in the upper 80s at daytime and the upper 60s at nighttime. After the front passes, we're looking at mid-80s at daytime and mid to upper 60s at nighttime. That will wrap your first look at weather at sunrise. I'm Godfrey Burnside. Back to you, Mark.
Thank you, Godfrey. Our first guest is here to tell us about her concert tour going on this year. And it's called Reclaim Your Destiny in 2023. And we have with us communications specialist, speaker, and singer, Kim Welcome. Good morning and welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise.
Well, thank you so much. Thanks for having me. It's wonderful to be here this morning, early though it may be.
Yes, right? We like to call it dead early, right?
Yeah, dead early.
Exactly. We'd like to thank you for being here with us this morning. We can just feel your presence on the set. So radiant, bringing all this energy. You should come every morning
All
just to
right.
help us wake up.
Okay.
So tell us, what is the Reclaim Your Destiny concert tour all about?
Well, Reclaim Your Destiny is, well, the tour is really, it's what you call a keynote concert. So I am a speaker. I'm also a singer-songwriter. And so, you know, this is about giving that motivational talk that is incorporating my inspirational music. So I'm, you know, a smooth jazz artist. And so it's just something with a little twist. And Reclaim Your Destiny is really about, you know, taking hold of those dreams that you have, dreams that may have been pushed down over time, that you shouldn't let go. Because if they're in you, if this is something that has been a part of you since you've known yourself, to push those dreams down is, it's like a life sentence, really and truly, because you begin to die slowly. So I want to encourage people to listen, pick those dreams up, and let's run and reclaim your destiny. Your dreams, the ones that are impactful to other people, those are the things that God puts in us, really. And that's the thing that you really need to do, and they're usually the things that are the hardest to do.
Very well said, you know, and this message, it speaks to everyone and all facets of life, all stages of life. But I want you to dial in specifically, how important is this message, especially during Women's History Month?
So I really wanted to push this starting this month because, you know, as women, a lot of times we're the ones who wind up pushing down what we have inside of us. I know personally because it happened to me, and I had things that I wanted to do, you know, these dreams and goals. I always wanted to sing, and I got married, and I said being a mom was a part of my purpose. I knew there was more that I wanted. Being a mom was a part of my purpose. I knew there was more that I wanted to do. But a lot of times what happens is those dreams get pushed down and they get lost, and people start doing what they have to do to make a living. But inside, I was really unhappy. I was unhappy because I felt like I was losing myself and my reason for being here.
Wow. And once again, very powerful message, and you're a living example, and you push your message through your music. You have a single called Don't Tell Me It's Too Late.
Yes.
Tell us what that's all about.
So that was written, I just was feeling, you know, like, is time just passing me by? I mean, am I going to be able to do these things that I have in my heart to do? And, you know, society will tell you, mass consciousness says things like, you know, you're too old. It's too late. The young people are doing everything. You know, it's too late for you. Sometimes for people, it's like, I have too much baggage. I have too many responsibilities. I can't do what it is that I want to do. But those are really limiting beliefs. And so Don't Tell Me It's Too Late is about don't tell me it's too late.
Exactly.
And, you know, the chorus says, I've got to live my dreams.
Exactly.
Can't leave it up to fate.
I love that, and you know, I'm a botanist by profession, so I always look at plants and nature for
Nice.
you know, metaphors. And you know, you have different plants that grow in different seasons, and they blossom and bloom and fruit at different times. You have certain plants that only bloom once in their lifetime. It grows for 100
true.
years, but then it has this wonderful inflorescence that's showy. It stays out for months on end, and it's a spectacular show. So everyone has their season, and I love your song,
that.
Don't
I
Tell Me
love
It's
that
Too Late.
analogy. Yes.
You're going to be speaking next week at a Women's Day brunch. What will your message be?
That message is going to be reclaim your destiny. And that is for women, obviously. It's on Women's Day. BAF Financial is putting on this Women's Day brunch. And, you know, the theme for Women's Day this year is technology and gender equality. But I will be bringing the inspiration and the empowerment portion for that event. Just getting women to think about what it is that you really wanted to do or want to do or maybe are doing, and encourage them to keep going, because typically those things that are important are the hardest to accomplish.
And it requires the most effort. I just said it this morning, and it's a saying I've heard from my friend: the hottest fire yields the purest gold.
Oh,
and
nice.
so as you're going through life and you're going through challenges, it's really preparing you for the next stage of your life.
Absolutely.
So is it ever too late to pursue your dreams?
Never. The fact that we are still here is an indicator. You know, there's a line in my song that says, could it be, since we're still here, then our purpose hasn't died? And if you're here, there's time.
Exactly. So we're honoring some, you know, different women for Women's History Month. Are there any women who have impacted your life specifically you want to highlight?
You know, when I was younger, Oprah was like the la la, you know, and I just followed her career and her trials and her triumphs, and she's really been an inspiration to me. And then my mom. My mom was a real inspiration, and she, you know, she passed on in 2019, and the impact of her life really came to the surface about how many people she helped, how many people called her mom, people that we didn't even know. And I think leaving an impact is what's most important. That's what we're here for.
Yes, we are. I feel so inspired already. I don't know if the event is only for women, but tell us, how can people attend the seminar, concert, and purchase your new song?
Yes, well, the seminar is floating around on social media. If you don't see a post, call BAF Financial, because they have these flyers going around, and there is a QR code. You just click on that and sign up. Remember, technology,
Yes.
right? So that's what's happening with BAF. But if you don't see it and you think you want to come, definitely call BAF Financial or go to any of my social media pages and send me a note, and I will certainly send you what you need to sign up. And my single is available everywhere singles are sold. So, you know, all the music platforms, it's there.
Technology again, you know, you find it on Apple, Spotify,
Exactly.
YouTube, but you ain't no more Cody's, right?
Exactly. I mean, I mean, people don't even buy CDs and,
I know.
the
Technology,
streaming, everything.
Well, we'd like to thank you again for coming on this morning. It's been very inspirational. I am so pleased to hear your journey and how it continues, how you're continuing to manifest your destiny and inspire others to do so. So continue to do the great work, and we look forward to more from you, more singles, more music, more inspiration.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Thank you for joining us this morning. You're watching Bahamas at Sunrise. We'll be right back.
Sucked in by the sands of time, life moves way too fast. Hindsight so impeccable, but I'm no victim to my past.
So the push-to-talk device is a beautiful device. It operates on our world-class cellular network. You can take pictures, you can take videos, you can put your persons in different groups. If they want the engineering team to have a different communication than the finance team or the security team, you can do that with the push-to-talk device. And that's not something that you can actually do with a regular communications radio device. We have several different types of devices. There's the 380, the 580 plus, and then there's the 590 plus, which is the top of the line device.
I used to think of the bank as my personal ATM machine. If I wanted a new car, new furniture, a weekend trip to Miami, no problem, just max out the credit card or top up my loan. I was a big baller until I realized that 75% of my salary was going to pay back all those loans. Fidelity's personal financial coaching was the best solution. Fidelity gave me a plan with a debt consolidation loan that has a built-in savings that pays 5% interest. I now only have one low monthly payment plus money in my pocket. Give Fidelity Bank a call at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit any of Fidelity's locations or visit a website at fidelitygroup.com.
Welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise. So glad that you've stuck with us. As we've mentioned, March is Women's History Month, and we are highlighting Bahamian women who are crushing it in their fields, making an impact, setting history, and setting the course for our future. This morning we have Dr. Krista Sherman, and she is the first Bahamian woman with a PhD in the marine sciences, and she serves as a senior scientist for the Perry Institute for Marine Science. Good morning and welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise, Dr. Sherman.
Good morning, Mark, and happy World Wildlife Day.
Oh yeah, it's World Wildlife Day. See, there you go. This is why we have you on the show, so for you to remind us of these things. But yes, it's Happy World Wildlife Day, celebrating all the wildlife, especially your favorite. So before we get in, tell me what are your favorite, what's your favorite fauna and wildlife that you see in the ocean?
I think so most people that have been in the field with me for a while know that I have a secret obsession with spotted eagle rays.
Oh, yeah.
So they are my favorite, yes.
Good. Everybody check out the spotted eagle ray. Do your part. Find out a little more about the spotted eagle ray on behalf of Women's History Month and World Wildlife Day. So let's get into it. How did your love for the ocean start and progress to becoming your career?
Well, my parents, thankfully, bless them, introduced me to the water as a baby, and I was hooked from then. And so I've always spent any opportunities that I've had in the water. My godfather taught me to snorkel when I was a kid, and I really got hooked then and obsessed. So it's just been a lifelong passion. And once I found out that I can marry that passion with science, which I'm also curious about, it was like a no-brainer. This is what I wanted to do.
That's fantastic. And not very often do we see, children having the ability to manifest their dreams from young, straight into their career. Find something that they're interested in, cultivate it, and turn it into a rewarding career. Tell us a little bit about your career and how you've got to the point where you're at.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. And I want to highlight that there's no one path for any individual, and there's no right or wrong way to get where you're gonna end up. Sometimes it's linear, sometimes it's not. But for me, because I knew what I wanted to do since primary school, it was really clear that I was gonna follow that science track. So I did an undergrad in marine science, master's of research in ocean science, and then most recently a PhD in biological sciences from the University of Exeter. And for me, with each of those degrees, I wanted to address a need. And so my master's research was really focused on addressing problems that we were having at the time with the emerging lionfish issue, which is an invasive species. And then my PhD, which people are more familiar with that work, was to figure out how can we better manage NASA grouper so that we prevent the species from going extinct, but we still have a viable fishery here in the country.
Tell us about some of the organizations that you work with that help to foster your career and allow you to flourish in the field.
Yeah. So like I said, the path is different for everybody. I was a big believer in interning and volunteering and did a whole lot of unpaid internships and volunteering growing up, even after having a master's degree, believe it or not. So those are really important to gain firsthand experiences. But some of the places I worked at after I finished my undergrad, I worked as an aquarist at Atlantis. So shout out to Atlantis, and learned a lot about husbandry and collecting and keeping things alive. But I really had the bug to do research. And so I left and did a master's. And after that, I ended up working at the Cape Eleuthera Institute and Island School, heading up their lionfish program, working on patch reefs, patch reef ecology. So that was sort of the next step. And then ended up working for the Bahamas National Trust after that for 4 years. A lot of that work was in the Exuma Keys Land and Sea Park, and a lot of work on protected areas and expanding the protected area system, with a lot of side projects happening on the same time, still lionfish. That's when I started doing NASA grouper work. And then eventually ending up where I am today, which is the Perry Institute for Marine Science.
Tell us a little about your current work at the Perry Institute.
Right. So the Perry Institute for Marine Science is a nonprofit research organization. We've been in the Bahamas doing work for over 50 years now. Not me, obviously. But when I came back from doing my PhD, our executive director, Dr. Craig Dahlgren, who I've worked with for a number of years, one of my mentors, asked me to head up a fisheries research and conservation program. So that's what I do there. And that work is really, we can't manage something if we don't know how it's doing. So looking at fisheries, not just fish species, but inverts like conch, how they're doing, how the condition of their habitats are, what things are threatening them, how do we manage those things better, more sustainably, how do we affect behavior change for people through our communications, and then continuing to monitor the condition of those species and those habitats as other threats emerge over time, like stony coral tissue loss disease, which is something that we're dealing with right now.
You know, you and I have worked together at the National Trust and in other capacities, and those of us from the nonprofit conservation world, we all know Krista as a rock star from time. You know, we know her as being a part of the fight, especially for conservation of our marine resources. And, you know, we love to eat the stew fish. We want our grouper, we want our conch. We want to be able to go and fish off the dock or go spear on our favorite reef. And, you know, persons don't always take into consideration the effort that needs to go into the research to give you the data for you to make informed decisions so that my children and my children's children can have themselves some fried grouper and some conch salad and whatnot. So just congratulating and celebrating you again and the organizations you've worked with for the work you do. Do you ever think that there was a glass ceiling for women in science? And did you ever meet any resistance in your career or education in this field?
That's an interesting question. And honestly, I can't say that in my mind, I thought there was a glass ceiling. I decided this is what I was going to do, and I made it happen. It's not been easy. Like, people see the end result, but they don't see all the things that went into it and all the challenges that you have experienced. But I didn't feel oppressed in any way, and I felt supported by the organizations that I worked with and the people that I've had in my life, and my family's been a tremendous support as well.
Very, very inspiring, and I'm glad that there's a glass ceiling. You just burst straight through the ceiling. You say, forget that. I doing my thing, right? Manifesting my dreams. Do you have a work or life philosophy that guides you?
Yeah, I think I've learned a lot from my mom, and probably a lot of Bahamians can say the same thing. She has been extraordinarily hardworking, and so I've seen that, and I value work ethic. And I believe if you say you're going to do something, you should do it, and you should try and do it to the best of your ability. It doesn't mean it's going to be perfect, but at least put the effort in. So that's kind of my philosophy and how I approach things. It's really purpose-driven work. It's not work just to do work. And even the research projects that I take on are purpose-driven and they're to help with a need, addressing a need.
I love that. I love that. What do you say to women and girls out there who are thinking of pursuing a career in the marine sciences?
Definitely, if you're interested, I feel like if you're interested, definitely pursue it. Like I mentioned, it's not going to be easy. When I did my undergrad, one of the things that happened during our orientation first week, they sat us all in a room and they said, look to the person to the left, look to the person at the right. They may not be there at the end. Because it is challenging, it is difficult. You are going to go through some things that are going to test your boundaries and your perseverance. But if you're really passionate about it, you'll make it happen. You'll stick through it. You'll persevere. And it would be lovely to have more Bahamians, not just women, in the sciences, because actually the males are underrepresented in our country in this field. So.
See, look at that.
I encourage you to get involved too.
See, that's a real woman right there. You see, she looking out for us, and y'all been looking out for us from time. That's why I say we give credit to women all across this planet for just maintaining and sustaining life. This is why we need y'all. So important. The Prime Minister gave you a shout out on Twitter on International Day of Women in Science, and he called you a trailblazing woman who has made immense contributions to the field of science and inspire us all. What did that mean to you?
Yeah, so I'm not on Twitter, but someone shared it with me. So thank you for that. It's nice for people to recognize your work. As a country, I think we've made some progress. I think there's a lot of room for improvement. And so for the Prime Minister and everyone that's involved and in positions of power where you can help improve conditions so that we can do the work that we do, that would be much appreciated.
There you go. Very well said. As we wrap up, if there was one thing that you wanted our viewers or the Bahamian public to know about the ocean and marine habitats, what would that be?
Oh, it's hard. It's not just one thing. For me, it's amazing. It's like my happy place. But I really wish that even for people that don't find joy in it, that they understood and appreciated the value in it to our very existence, especially in the Bahamas. So, you know, we need the ocean, we need the habitats to protect our coastlines, to provide us with food, to support all the industries and livelihoods that are, you know, benefiting our country. So I wish people would feel that connection and appreciate the value for everything that it provides us a little bit more. But yeah.
I love it. Show a little love and appreciation for the ocean because it provides so much for us, and we wanted to keep it that way. And we applaud and congratulate, celebrate people like yourselves and the organization that you work with who are working so hard to conserve our ocean resources and make sure we still have this Bahamian way of life for many years to come. So thank you again, Dr. Krista Sherman, for joining us this morning. We salute you as a woman in science and Women's History Month, and we look forward to seeing you out there in the ocean. Let's go snorkeling and go look at some grouper.
Yes, hopefully this afternoon. Thanks for having me.
Thank you again for joining us there early, and have a great weekend.
Okay, you too. Take care.
You're
Bye.
watching Bahamas at Sunrise, and we'll be right back.
You watch them grow and make plans for them even before they're old enough to talk. You spend a lifetime of sacrifice to pave the way for their success and create a tomorrow you too can be proud of. Can you tell who is the investor? At Leno, we believe everyone who has ever put a penny aside for a future dream is an investor. If you're new to investing, Leno's financial experts stand ready to design plans based on your goals. Let's sit down and explore the options one-on-one and see how, together, we can make your dreams come true. Whether considering traditional investments like a new home, car, your own business, security in retirement, or your child's college fund, we take the confusion out of the process and make an investor out of you. Call 396-3225 for an appointment. Leno, your bridge to the future.
TCL Group and Cable Bahamas Business Solutions present Grand Bahama Business Outlook 2023 under the theme Forward, Upward, Onward, Together. Our keynote speaker is the Honorable Chester Cooper, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Tourism, Investments and Aviation. Come join us at the Grand Rukaian Resort on Thursday, March 16th, or attend via Zoom. Register today at tclevents.com.
And welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise. We are here dead early on a fantastic Friday, and we're also at the mid-show. Thank you for sticking with us. My name is Mark Daniels, and I'm flying solo, but not really. We have the whole production team here in the background supporting us and keeping us in the air on our flight this morning as we travel into the weekend. Thank you for joining us. We had an exciting first half of the show. We spoke to Kim Welcome about her concert series and seminar that's going to be coming up, Reclaiming Your Destiny in 2023. And it just goes to speak to, it's never too late. Once you have life, there is hope. And there's that dream you were thinking of, that perceived hurdle you want to overcome, that thing on your bucket list that you never really got to do. Where there's life, there is hope. And don't wait. Go and attack that dream, hit it head on, get somebody who can hold you accountable, an accountability partner. And once you accomplish that dream, it doesn't end. Go on to the next, and the next, and the next, and inspire others to do the same. Because we have one life to live, but you do live on through your works, your deeds, and your children. So don't waste it and reclaim your destiny. We also spoke to Dr. Krista Sherman and her work in the marine environment in ocean conservation. And it's so important. We here in the Bahamas, we love our oceans. We love what comes out of our sea. We want to, we have Easter that's going to be coming up and Good Friday. We want to have our fried fish, our stew fish. We got people who want to have conch. They want to pull up to the restaurant every day and be able to have fresh conch. And for us to maintain and sustain our way of life, it requires people to go out there and do the research, to dive in places that you would have never imagined, to face conditions that are dangerous, but also rewarding because they are in it for the love of the ocean, for the love of the people, for the love of our resources. So we continue to celebrate persons like Dr. Krista Sherman, Women in Science, during Women's History Month. And if you're interested, you can reach out to any of those organizations she mentioned: Bahamas National Trust, Island School, BRIEF, Perry Institute for Marine Sciences. There's many organizations out there working towards educating people a bit more about our ocean resources and helping us to maintain them. So congratulations to all of you, all of our ocean warriors out there, and keep up the good fight. And we've got an exciting second half coming up. We're going to be talking to Dr. Kenneth Rolle, who's going to be speaking about the government's public-private partnership scheme for developing family island airports. And we're also going to get an economic update from Central Bank Governor John Rolle. But first, let's hear from Brother Godfrey Burnside. He said he's a big green giant. Where y'all is in BISS? Where y'all at right now? in place 3. All right. Go with it, Godfrey.
This is Weather at Sunrise.
Thank you, Mark, and good morning, Bahamas. Just take a look at the weather at sunrise. That persistent high pressure over the last several weeks will now weaken and move towards the east, but in moving, it will cause some breezy conditions over the next 24 to 36 hours. A weak cold front approaches the islands, will move through on Sunday night, early Monday morning, and across New Providence by early Monday morning, moving into the Exuma Keys by Monday evening. In your marine forecast, we do have cautions posted for small craft operators. Winds southerly at 15-20 knots, seas 4 to 6 feet, those winds gusting at 25 knots at times over the northwest Bahamas. Southeast to south at 15-20 knots, seas 4 to 6 feet over the central and southeastern islands. On Saturday, winds south to southwest starting off 15 knots, seas 3 to 5 feet, will be dropping off 10 to 15 knots, seas 2 to 4 feet over northwest Bahamas, east to southeast at 15 knots, seas 3 to 5 feet over the central and southeastern islands. On Sunday, those winds become light and variable, seas 1 to 3 feet over the northwest and central Bahamas, eastern at 15 knots, seas 3 to 5 feet over the southeastern islands. Tides. You can expect a low tide 11:37 this morning. Your next high tide will be at 5:23 this evening. Low again tonight at 11:26. Sunset will be at 6:12 this evening, rising to at 6:29. UV index 8, your water temperature 73 degrees Fahrenheit, and the moon phase for its quarter. Your extended look, high pressure shift towards the east on Sunday, making way for a weak cold front to move here sometime late Sunday night into Monday morning, and that will increase some cloudiness over the islands on Monday, But the mood for the weekend will be a hot one. We're looking at sunny and very warm conditions. The temperature daytime ahead of that front will be in the upper 80s at daytime and the upper 60s at nighttime. After that front passes, we're looking at the mid 80s at daytime and the mid upper 60s at nighttime. That puts you up on your phone. Look at the weather at sunrise. I'm Godfrey Burnside. Back to you, Mark.
Thank you, Godfrey. The government of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas has recently launched a public-private partnership designed to engage experienced and qualified private sector partners to develop and maintain 14 Family Island airports. Here to discuss this with us is Dr. Kenneth Rolle, Deputy Director General and Acting Director of Aviation. Good morning and welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise.
It's certainly good to be back here gathering in person. What a difference a year or two makes. I say to folks, I'm on top of the world.
That's
probably
good.
about 25,000 feet. When we're talking about airports and airlift, I'm so excited again to be here this morning.
That's good. You look on top of the world. You're sharp this morning. We up dead early. You step everybody gaming this morning. I go in the car and put on my suit, man. But thank you for being here this morning discussing this very important initiative. Explain the PPP model and why this is a good approach to building and maintaining our airports.
Well, first of all, these are exciting times. You know, we did launch the public documents on the 1st of March. The public-private partnership is just what its name suggests. The government really is leveraging the power, the potential of our private sector, really around operational efficiencies, the utilization of financing for capital development, importing best practices. And so what the government is doing is we're again inviting private sector partners to come and really express an interest in the development of a portfolio of some 14 airports across our archipelago. The intent again is for the design, the building, financing, operating, and the maintenance of these airports. And it is a multi-tier approach when it comes to PPPs. Of course, the first phase is the request for pre-qualification, where we invited persons to come and express their interest. That's going to go for about 45 days in compliance with the international bidding method. And then we will evaluate, shortlist, and then invite persons, selected candidates, to the second phase or the RFP stage, where we're going to speak about the invitation to negotiate. And then we hopefully will get to the third stage where we are inviting offers, and we're going to really be aggressive in building needed Family Island airports and addressing the state of airport infrastructure across the entire Bahamas.
This is very exciting, and I'm so happy that the government has decided to launch this initiative for the airports. You mentioned the 14 airports that have been included as part of this portfolio. What was the process in selecting these airports to make sure it was a attractive investment potential for potential investment?
We did a lot of market sounding. We spoke with both local and international stakeholders. Of course, the determination was made. It must fit into an overall national development plan for infrastructural development. We started to look at individual island communities and see how these airports could unlock potential commercial activity, employ more persons, create jobs, opportunities, but most critical is we're looking at international direct traffic flow to these islands, and also how it serves our domestic commuters. So we're looking at a myriad of factors. We're looking at the existing traffic flow, but we're also forecasting growth in these islands. Interestingly, a lot of the islands selected, just looking at your Exuma and your Eleuthera, and you'll discover again that those islands have actually exceeded pre-pandemic numbers in terms of overall visitor arrivals. Cat Island and Andros also have actually surpassed 2019 projections. So there were a myriad of factors that spoke to how we selected these airports. This is a continuation of what was started previously under the previous administration, but it's an expansion. So we're looking at 14. Of course, we opened Great Albuquerque in December of last year, and I'm sure that everybody is anxiously awaiting the announcement for the Grand Bahama International Airport. But this is an aggressive approach to really addressing the state of our airport infrastructure.
And aggressive is needed. You know, it's very important to have these airports operational. It's the gateway for the most part into these islands. Yeah, we do the mail boat, and yeah, we have little airports and the private planes.
We're looking at the bundling, and the bundling option is still there, but we're not restricting investors by saying this is what you should, your investment appetite should be attracted to today. We're spreading an entire buffet. And we're saying, do your due diligence. We're going to provide you again with the information to make sound investment decisions. But then again, there is no restriction on the bundling. So it is a buffet. They can come a la carte. They can pair their meals. But at the end of the day, we expect investors to make decisions. And there has been an incredible amount of investor interest in the bundling or approaching our airports individually.
Awesome. You alluded to it earlier, but I wanted to dig into it a bit more. Explain to us how an airport on a family island is the epicenter for economic activity, for business, and how that will impact the island once you have a fully functioning airport providing access.
First of all, we do know that airport attract your airlift. The Deputy Prime Minister says it this way, that tourism is the lifeblood of the economy. But airlift or aviation and airport infrastructure is really the oxygen. So there is a natural pairing between the oxygen, so really oxygenating the blood. Stopover arrivals typically contribute some 28 times more than your cruise arrivals. So we would have seen some 1.6 million stopover arrivals pre-pandemic. At the end of 2022, we were 89% of 2019. We are leading the region. But when we look at international foreign arrivals again for this year, we are so pleased that we're actually trending ahead of 2019 pre-pandemic numbers. And again, when we look at the commercial activity that airports bring to local communities, we're going to see the increase in employment. We're going to see additional jobs. We're looking at opportunities for entrepreneurs and stakeholders. We're giving persons to explore the islands of the Bahamas and really to come back and be return visitors. This is very important for tourism also. As we look again at increasing our tourism numbers and being the regional leaders, airports serve a sizable and a significant role, again, in the whole overall rebound and recovery of tourism in the post-pandemic environment.
Very exciting stuff. You know, personally, I have a sentimental feel towards our older traditional airports. You pull up, it's just, a small building, one guy pulls out your suitcases, put it on the trolley, rolls it right to the gate. We all just grab our bags and go. I know for, with international standards and security measures that upgrades are important, but how is important to maintain the island charm and feel? When someone steps off of the plane, the first thing they see is the airport. Is that a consideration for the design of these airports, or do you allow the proposals to kind of have free reign?
There are several non-negotiables when it comes to the design components. One of them, again, is the sense of authenticity, maintaining, again, that sense of culture, that sense of place that makes our family islands what they really are. And the second one, you want to see airports that are resilient and have models of sustainability. We live, of course, in environments that are prone to hurricanes and to flooding. Sustainability is important. How is it that they reduce their carbon footprint? So sustainability, ensuring again that airports retain that sense of authenticity, that indigenous feel, and the sense of service excellence that our family islands are known for. So these are going to be things that are factoring into all of our design components for our family island airports.
Fantastic. I'm glad to hear that. As we wrap up, I know our viewers are just clawing at the screen. They want to throw their money at these projects. So how can potential bidders find out more information about the bidding process and kick it off?
All of the documents are available on our website, the DOABahamas.com. That's Department of Aviation. DOABahamas.com. The RFP documents are there. Your technical documents are there. Other supporting documents. And of course, there is also an email, info@DOABahamas.com. You send us an email, we'll be more than happy to respond to you. These are exciting times ahead. And we're going to really probably see the most aggressive and comprehensive approach to the redevelopment, the redesign, the revitalization of airports, and by extension, our family island communities.
I love it. I love it. So excited you were able to come on the show this morning for us, bringing us this information about the public-private partnerships for these 14 family island airports, breathing life back into our islands and giving us access. So thank you for all the work you do, Dr. Kenneth Rolle, you and your team, and looking forward to these airports getting built and Bahamians having a chance to invest and enjoy. So
we'll
thank
see
you
you
again.
there for the regattas and homecomings.
Exactly.
We'll see our international visitors. That these are exciting times again for us as a country.
Thank you again for joining us dead early
Thank
on
you.
Bahamas at Sunrise.
It's a pleasure.
You're watching Bahamas at Sunrise, and we'll be right back.
The islands of the Bahamas. Fly away.
Shell Unleaded improves your fuel economy, giving increased miles per gallon, allowing you to do more of what you really want. Special additives used in Shell Unleaded improve your engine's efficiency. So go further with Shell Unleaded. Venture out to beaches, Junkanoo, and festivals and bring home memories that will last a lifetime. Shell, fueling journeys that matter.
The governor of Central Bank, John Rolle, is here to talk to us about the economy of the Bahamas here in 2023. Good morning and welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Mark. Good morning.
We're talking about being up dead early. This is late for you, right? And you say you'd be up from 4 in the morning, but that's when the most productive things happen. So we're talking about the state of the economy here in 2023. Tell us some of the indicators that we look for that tell us about the financial recovery of our economy.
Well, I must say that coming off the COVID-19 setback, we've had a very healthy rebound. Last year, 2022, we estimated the Bahamas grew between 7 and 9%, and it's possible we could grow above 5% in 2023. And what it really reflects is that a lot of people just couldn't travel during the pandemic, and it is really that pent-up demand for travel that is pushing tourism along. In addition, we have very strong foreign investment flows, particularly targeting real estate and tourism development. Some of that was happening even during the pandemic. And when you combine them together, you really see the strength of the Bahamian recovery. We see it most readily just in terms of the amount of foreign exchange that's going through the banking system. And last year, we would have seen about a 1/3 pick up in the amount of total inflows through the banking system. Now, the flip side of that is as incomes have come back, Bahamians are spending more. So we're seeing at least a 25% pickup in terms of the amount of foreign exchange we're using to purchase imports and other goods and services. But that's not a bad thing. That's just the nature of the Bahamian economy.
That's just a part of how the economy fluctuates,
yes,
and part of how it all flows. You mentioned 7 to 9% growth for 2022. Is that significant compared to the average?
I would say that we should not get too distracted by that. By some estimate, the Bahamas lost about a quarter of its GDP in the first year of the pandemic. And so if you've grown by 7% one year, you've grown by about 8% the other year, and likely 5% this year, you're still not at the end of 2023 likely, or you might be just back to where you started. So a lot of what we've been experiencing is really recouping what we lost. Once we get beyond this, it's still likely that the Bahamas is going to settle into its ordinary growth pattern, which is expected to be not even 2% average per year. And that's the number that we have to be focused on a lot more, because that's the number we want to increase.
Well, you mentioned 2%. I was about to ask, do you think we'll exceed international expectations in terms of our growth of between 4 to 6%? I think the IMF projects about 4.1% for 2023. Do you think we'll exceed?
Yeah, I think even if we exceed it, we won't be dramatically different from it. But what that really reflects is that there's still that carryover of the momentum, and we're expected to see therefore better growth rates than many of the international economy. Of course, again, the rest of the world recovered faster than we did. So even looking at how us growing faster now, it is really just reflection of the lag in terms of how we've performed.
Well, that's a question I have. You hear this saying that the U.S. catches a cold and the Bahamas sneeze. Always the other way. The U.S. sneezes and the Bahamas catches a cold. How does our economy, you talk about this lag time, how does it relate to what's happening in the world? And what is that lag time that happens between?
Well, again, these are extraordinary times, but normally what the Bahamas has the bad experience of having recessions when we do that are longer than American recession, because as the U.S. economy starts to slow down, it often shows up in the Bahamas as reduction in economic activity. And even as the U.S. often gets out of its recession, we sometimes experience a few extra quarters of economic contraction. So typically we on both sides of the U.S. Recessions when they occur. This time it is different because there's this very strong rebound in travel. But there are many other headwinds that we are facing. For example, the high price of oil, that's a damper on competitiveness of tourism. As far as airlines are concerned, that's a cost. It's a cost that passes through in electricity for hotels, and so it does dampen some of that momentum. And on the whole, international capacity in the airline industry is still not back to where it was before the pandemic.
Right, and that leads into my next question. You said that while tourism's full recovery from COVID ravages is incomplete, that it's considerably advanced. So tell us how we've advanced and what's left to be done.
When we looked at the seasonality in tourism, so it's best to compare each month with its comparable month in the previous year. So if we do that for the Bahamas, the best months for tourism were the first half of 2019, and the first 8 months of 2019 and the last 4 months of 2018. The last 4 months of 2019, we were still battling the recovery from Hurricane Dorian, so those months didn't do as good as 2018. So if you add those 12 months together, we were about 90% of the way there in the cruise numbers by the end of November. By December, we may be closer to the 100%. I haven't re-looked at the numbers. In the hotel sector, or stopover arrivals, we were above 80%, approaching 90%. So we expect that in 2023, we're going to get back to the level and be in a position to begin to grow above those record numbers. Now, you hear some numbers about us doing better than pre-pandemic in some cases, but in many cases that's a comparison with the whole of the calendar year 2019, with where we are now. And in some of those numbers, yes, you're probably already back to where you were.
Well, that's a positive outlook, and as we talk about the recovery of the economy, will commercial banks be lending more in 2023?
I think banks do want to lend more, but it comes down to credit worthiness. Banks have been on a very multi-year process of trying to reduce the average delinquency rate for loans. Right now, the average delinquency rate in terms of persons who are at least 3 months behind without a payment is around about between 7 and 8% of all loans that banks have lent. And so, that's a number that we should be mindful of, because in comparable state in other countries, even having 5% delinquency rate is problematic. So we still have a good distance to go in terms of getting the delinquency rate lower. And really, it's looking at the delinquency rate and the risk in terms of sorting out who you can lend to. That is really what continues to hold back banks in terms of new lending. But we think that having a credit bureau is going to help to resolve that, because then there's less doubt about who you're giving credit to when you can see what their credit profile looks like.
Right, I was going to ask, is the credit bureau responsible for, or a part of the strategy for getting that number down in terms of delinquency rates on commercial loans?
It helps, because first of all, it will allow banks to sort better out who to lend to, and also it empowers them to make more differentiation in terms of the interest rates that they charge to borrowers. And it means that if you are one of those who claim that you are low risk, then you will have more evidence to back up your position and be in a stronger bargaining position to get a better interest rate on a loan.
One thing I'm sure is on a lot of persons' mind is inflation has gone on over the past few months to year. I can't tell the exact date, but do we expect to see inflation on goods and services to continue, or is there a reprieve in sight?
When you look at what's happening on the international side, and our inflation is imported. There is a trend internationally which seems to show that inflation is slowing. The relationship in the Bahamas is not timed one-to-one, so it is likely that as we progress through 2023, we'll see some of that catch up with the Bahamas, and we might begin to see the slowing down. But it's from the data that we have, you don't see that yet. But our data in the Bahamas, I don't think is even yet to December. But so I do expect that over the course of this year, we should begin to see some of the benefit of what's beginning to happen in the United States.
That's great. Now, you've explained to us the lag effect and the impact of the international economy on the Bahamas. But what can we as everyday Bahamians do in our everyday lives to help improve or push this recovery of our economy along a little bit faster?
Well, we look at the total numbers, but it all adds up. One of the things that you try to get across to all of us as Bahamians is to be very responsible in your personal finances, focus on affordability, focus on allocating more of your income towards your investment, your retirement, and not so much of it on the instant gratification from consumption. So even if you're borrowing, it's okay to borrow. Really, it's how you use what you're borrowing the funds for. And a good example is borrowing to finance a home, right? So, or borrowing to pay for education because you expect some return. So credit is not bad, but it's how you're using it to uplift your circumstances and put yourself in a better position long term. If you do that individually, then it percolates upwards, and we see it in the totals, because then we will see it as a country in terms of much larger amounts of reserves, foreign reserves that a central bank would have. We would also see it in terms of larger amounts of ownership in businesses, because we would have more of our own resources to plow into businesses, and we would see it in terms of general investments in a country. So each of us, if we take the right action or the right attitude, you would see it collectively in the numbers.
Very wise words, and I'm going to take that advice, and we all should take that advice. We hear about the economy, we see what's going on in the news, and we feel it's out of our control. We're happy to have central bank and you as governor there leading the charge on getting our country recovered. But we can do things as individual Bahamians, as you said, to contribute to the collective. So I'd like to thank you again, Governor John Rolle from Central Bank, here talking about the recovery of our economy in 2023 and giving us some good advice on how we as individual Bahamians can help to contribute to the collective. So thank you again for being up with us dead early on Bahamas at Sunrise.
Thank you, Mark.
It's a pleasure. You're watching Bahamas at Sunrise, and we'll be right back.
TCL Group and Cable Bahamas Business Solutions present Grand Bahama Business Outlook 2023 under the theme Forward, Upward, Onward, Together. Our keynote speaker is the Honorable Chester Cooper, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Tourism, Investments and Aviation. Come join us at the Grand Lucayan Resort on Thursday, March 16th, or attend via Zoom. Register today at tclevents.com.
And thank you for joining us again, dead early in Bahamas at Friday. It's been another fantastic Friday. We're so happy that you joined us. Celebrating Women's History Month, take your time this weekend, pick up a book, read about great women in history here in the Bahamas, the Caribbean, the world, and you teach me. Send me a message on Facebook and tell me about a woman we should be celebrating here on our show. Thank you again and have a great weekend.